Hello everyone, it's Joseph, friend, your boy Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. And in this video, I am going to be doing a interactive Hangout live stream, Ask Me Anything. You already know. So this is going to be like a fun hangout for everybody. It's also going to be a live review of Galaxy Girl Meets the Rejects #2. If you guys are unfamiliar with Galaxy Girl, definitely feel free to ask me questions. I'll do a quick overview of who Galaxy Girl is, real quick, just in case you're unfamiliar, and then I'll hop into this review. Right now, I'm just trying to get my screen configured right so I can read this while seeing what the live chat says. Okay. So, Galaxy Girl is a superhero comic series created by my friend Oz. This particular episode is episode 37 of Galaxy Girl. This is the cover of episode 37. I will be selectively showing artwork from the book, but Galaxy Girl can at times be a little not safe for work. So, I'm going to try to avoid just live streaming the book pages directly because I don't want to show you guys anything that may be inappropriate. But Galaxy Girl is about a girl from Earth who gains powers from one of the greatest heroes on the planet. Think something similar to like Midoriya getting powers from All Might kind of thing. But they're like a space ranger organization. Think similar to like Buzz Lightyear and then like traveling through the stars and like fighting crime, but they have superpowers. And she has imposter syndrome. She feels like she has to live up to this grand mentor who died, and people blame her for his death because he gave her a portion of his power. So he wasn't as strong and ended up falling in battle. So she feels like a failure, and she's trying to prove herself not only to herself but to those around her. After several misadventures, she's found herself now as the warden of Earth, and she hates Earth. That's where she's from. And she has kind of a traumatic past on Earth, but she's having to come to terms with that. The planet is controlled by rich billionaires. Sounds familiar. And she is currently working with a team of reject heroes on Earth to try and make things right. And those are the rejects that we are now going to be diving into in this particular issue. So let's see. I think I can safely share this. So the comic starts with Galaxy Girl talking with Pigeon. Pigeon is one of the rejects, one of the very first people that she meets when she returns to Earth to act as a warden. And she says, "Pigeon, you've got will. I have to give you that. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but have you ever considered this line of work may not be for you?" And then Pigeon says, "I've literally never considered that." So Pigeon is like a humanoid pigeon character who can talk to pigeons. I don't know if Pigeon can fly. I don't think he can, but maybe he can. It's been a while since I've read Galaxy Girl. I've been wanting to review the series, and I've reviewed several Galaxy Girl issues on my Substack. So feel free to check that out if you want to see my previous Galaxy Girl reviews. But Pigeon is a very fun character, and I didn't know they had a team until, of course, they introduced the team in one of the previous issues that I read and reviewed. But this is definitely the kind of thing that Pigeon would say. The concept of like, of course, I've always felt like I was like fit for this. This is what I'm made for. Which is very interesting to contrast against Galaxy Girl. Because, like I said, Galaxy Girl has imposter syndrome. She's someone who has this great power given to her by one of the greatest heroes, but doesn't necessarily feel like she deserves that power or that she can truly live up to that power. And Pigeon is a guy that just is a big pigeon who can talk to pigeons, and he doesn't feel like an imposter. He feels like this is what he's made for. He's never doubted himself, despite the fact that he is coming from more humble beginnings than she. And I think that's honestly a very great parallel between these two characters. It really shows you how it doesn't matter how well your life is set up, you can still doubt yourself. And it doesn't matter how like bad your life is set up, you can still believe in yourself. So that's really cool. I actually like that dynamic between these two characters. Yo, Rap King, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Do you have any questions for your boy? So far, Rap King, what I've done in the stream is I've been reviewing Galaxy Girl. Galaxy Girl is a comic made by my friend Oz. I've been reviewing individual issues on my blog. I've decided that I'll start reviewing issues on these streams as well. I'll probably only review like one issue per stream or something like that. But it's going to be a live review where I'm like reading through the book and talking to you all about the book as I read through it and giving my thoughts. Galaxy Girl is a space-based superhero who inherited her powers from one of the world's greatest heroes, but that hero has died. She blames herself for his death, and now she's not sure if she can really live up to the legacy that has been bestowed to her. And she is back on Earth disgracefully, working as like a warden of Earth, and she is currently talking with Pigeon, who is like a humanoid pigeon vigilante, has the power to talk to pigeons. And while she's doubting herself, Pigeon is like super confident about his heroic abilities, despite the fact that he comes from a much more humbler circumstance than her. Rap King said, reminds me of Into the Spider-Verse. The idea of like believing in yourself versus like having doubt in yourself. That is a very big part of. Would you say that's a big part of both Spider-Verse movies? I know it's a very big part of the first one for sure. I mean, I think it is a big part of the Spider-Verse movie. Is this a similar theme just to the Spider-Verse movies, actually? Because you're right. In the first Spider-Verse movie, Miles is meeting all these different multiversal Spider-Men, and they all are kind of unsure of his capability, and he kind of has to come into his own and prove himself. And in the second Spider-Verse movie, he meets even more Spider-Verse Spider-Men, and now he learns that he's even more of an anomaly compared to what he thought from just when he met like a handful of them. And not only does he have to, stand out and continue to stand out and do his own thing, but now he also has to like actively like rebel against them. In the second Spider-Verse movie, it like escalates even further. So yeah, no, I agree. It does have some similarities to Spider-Verse. Now, while I do this live review of the comic, I'm going to occasionally show you guys stuff from the comic, but I'm going to be switching back and forth between showing you the comic proper and just showing you the cover page of the comic. And the reason why I'm doing that is because this comic does have some not safe for work stuff. So I don't want to accidentally show you guys anything that would be inappropriate. Also, please smash that like button if you haven't already. Truly appreciate it. It really does help the channel. So I'm going to share the cover real quick and scroll. Okay, this looks safe. This looks safe. So Galaxy Girl says, this is my home. These are my people. This is a job. Hold on. So this is an interesting like paneling thing that's going on right here with the speech bubble. So there's like a caption box. This is another caption box. Are these her thoughts? This may be her thoughts, like inner monologue, question mark. There's no tail. There are no tails on this box. So she's saying this for sure. He's saying this for sure. Hold on. Little itty bitty tail. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I think the tail is here. So this is the pigeon talking? Question mark? That is so weird. That's such a minute tail that I'm not even sure if it's a tail or if we're just seeing part of this building in the background. That is so weird. Let me know your interpretation of this page, but this threw me as I was reading it, like whether or not I was reading it correctly. But I'm going to treat it as her thoughts for now. This is my home. These are my people. This is a job for you, Galaxy Girl. Okay, the pigeon's talking. This is a job for you, Galaxy Girl. For me, well, let's just say I'm playing five-finger fillet with my nuts on the table. Oh, goodness. Five-finger fillet is where you like put your hands on a table and then you stab a knife in between your fingers and you try not to cut your fingers off. So effectively, the pigeon is just saying like, this is high risk for me. I'm all in on this or whatever. That needs to be a bigger tail, legitimately a bigger tail on that. The context clues are enough to let me know that that's pigeon saying it. But that threw me for a loop for a second. Let's see. Galaxy Girl said, let's never say that, which is fair. That is like a crazy analogy for Pigeon to make. And then Pigeon said, we've taken all we can take. and now we're fighting back because the misfits are like a resistance force on Earth, but they may not have the best powers, but they're going to put their best foot forward. So before I scroll, because like I said, this book can be sometimes a little bit randomly not safe for work, I'm going to show you guys the cover and then scroll to see if it's safe. This is safe. Okay, so here are more of the misfits. So you have this turtle girl. I believe that she's really smart and she has like a turtle shell on her back. I honestly like her powers and design because the turtle shell likely acts as like a defense. Hopefully, it's bulletproof. I don't know. And she's very intelligent. So she kind of has a little bit of like brain and brawn in that respect. She could probably ram someone with her turtle shell. I think this guy is just drunk. Like I don't remember him having powers. I think he legitimately is just like an alcoholic. Pigeon says, "These are my people, Tara, and I assure you, you can travel all across the universes, and you will never find a more remarkable group of people anywhere else." Wild claims. One of the first Galaxy Girl stories I ever read, and one that like got me into Galaxy Girl, involved her going to a planet where there was a elf woman who had the ability to control and manipulate nature. Think something like poison ivy, but the planet was like a ego, the living planet kind of thing. So it's not just that she can manipulate nature; she just straight up has a bond with like a living world. And if I remember correctly, there were like these thieves that were trying to like steal resources from the world, and it was making the world sick, and it's trying to defend itself. That was a really cool character interaction. So there's a huge juxtaposition between what we've seen before, like the actual wonders that she's encountered on her adventures, and Pigeon saying, "Nowhere else in the universe will you ever find so cooler," or whatever. It's like, well, that's obviously not true, but Pigeon means that without necessarily knowing what all is out there. And that's another thing, Galaxy Girl is a more seasoned hero who has gone on journeys and adventures but doubts themselves. And Pigeon is like an amateur street hero who's very confident in his abilities but has like never seen, other parts of the universe. He has like a lot of like assumptions about what the world is like that reshape his perspective. So it's interesting to see these two kind of clash a little bit. Also, I see we have 2 viewers and 0 likes. Can we get that up to 2 viewers and 2 likes? Truly appreciate it. But I'm going to do another sanity check to make sure that I don't hit you guys with something not safe for work. Okay, these next few are safe. Okay, so we got this guy who's unconscious. I can't remember if he was a member of the Rejects or not. I think I've been accidentally calling them the Misfits. I can't remember if he's a member of the Rejects. I guess so. They're showing him for some reason, so I imagine he is. Pigeon says, "We are the defenders of this city. The people of this city need our protection, and each one of us is ready to lay down our lives for." And then she interrupts him. I get it. Spare me another speech. Are you always this eccentric? And then she goes, "Hi, I'm Galaxy Girl, but you can call me Tara. It's nice to meet you." It's interesting. Why is she doing like this quick reintroduction almost of herself? Let's see. Rap King said, "Do you think I'm dash man should be redeemed even though he's killed a lot of..." Oh, Omni-Man. Did you use speech to text? My mom uses speech to text a lot, and I have to similarly do like a clue breakdown thing, like figure out what is it that was being said. I've read all of Invincible because Rap King's asking an Invincible question on live chat. I've read all of Invincible. I haven't read all the spin-off stuff. I know Invincible has a lot of spin-offs, so I can't account for those. I'm actively watching the show. I'm a little behind on the show. And the show is finally doing an arc that was never in the actual Invincible comic, which is really cool. And I like the new lore that's being introduced in the new arc of the current season of Invincible. I would say that I don't want to spoil anything about Invincible. It's really hard for me to have like speculative conversations about Invincible, largely because if I get too in the weeds on it, I'm going to say something that I shouldn't say because I know stuff that I shouldn't know versus what the show has presented. I would be interested in talking about some of the new lore that's being introduced in the current season of Invincible, but I'm also hesitant to do that at the moment simply because the new season is so new and also because I'm, again, slightly behind on the new season. I'm part of the way through the current Invincible episode. But her doing this little reintroduction, I'm curious if we'll get more context on the next page to what she's talking about. So sharing that tab, doing a check. I'm actually going to do like big check. There is a part that is very suddenly not safe for work. So I'm safe for a little bit, but eventually I will need to turn it away. Okay. So I think this is her looking at the other rejects and introducing herself to them. That's what this panel is. So Turtle Girl says, yes, he's always like that. Hey, Tara, I mean, Galaxy Girl. Gosh, let me start over. I'm shell-shocked. Thanks for getting us. I like the way that it's written. You could tell that she's, like, nervous. The red blush is so red. It's like blood red. Uh, I'm sorry, I can't do this right now. Guys, I've been standing for 8 hours. The shell is killing me. I really have to pee. Can someone please take me home? Is her shell a part of her? Or is it like a thing that she built and wears? Because there are straps on it, which makes me think maybe it's a thing she wears. But maybe the straps are just a part of the fit. I really don't know. Let's see. Then this guy says, I'll fly you there once you finish this beer. And then she goes, no. Also, he can fly? Wait, does he have powers? I just thought one of them was a drunk. If he can fly, that's actually very fascinating. Galaxy Girl said, look, I don't want to sound like a cop, but you can't fly drunk. It's dangerous. What if his power is that he can only fly when he's drunk? Is that what they're about to say? Maybe I like danger? What? That's not where I thought he was going to go with it. She goes, a little help? And Pigeon said, that's the bum. The drunker he gets, the more powerful he is. I knew it. I knew it was like a relative scale thing. Okay, so that actually is really OP. Not gonna lie. I mean, his biggest limit at that point would be the amount of alcohol that you could get him. How? I actually have a ton of questions about him because I'm like, is there an upper limit to what he could do? Because there's an amount of alcohol that could be in your bloodstream that would like kill a normal person, like straight out. But if the drunker he gets, the more powerful he is, could he effectively like not die from it because of the power? Like, could the power be enough to like just keep him alive? Because if he had like an extremely high like blood alcohol level or whatever, that would be like fatal. Maybe he gets so powered up to where what's interesting about what I'm thinking, right, is that if it acts as a boost for him, does it then mean that it doesn't have like the greater negative consequences? Like if he were to just straight up put alcohol directly into his bloodstream, like raw alcohol, like a whole bunch that would normally like kill somebody, would it make him like uber powerful and he just resist all the negative effects because he's so strong? Or would it be more like a guy 8 gates situation where you tap into all that power, but at the cost of it's probably going to really mess you up at the end of the day? Like, is he drunk now? Question mark. Where it actually is like negatively affecting him, or does it just give him boosts, but then he's fine? I have so many questions about the bum. He could be the strongest guy in the verse, as far as I'm aware, because I don't know what his cap is. Who knows? I've seen him fly as fast as a plane and lift cars with one hand. In both cases, he was looking for someone who owed him money. It's better when he's on our side. And then he says GD Martians. Interesting. So it sounds like he doesn't have a good vibe with people from space. So he's probably not going to get along with Galaxy Girl having gone on all these like space adventures. It's interesting the concept of both times he's seen the bum use his powers, it's because people owed him money. Because it makes me feel as if the bum isn't actually a good guy like most of the time, which makes me wonder why he's even on the rejects. Brando used to run with the wolves back in the day. He was homeless too when I found him. That man is a true American. I That doesn't tell me much about him. And then she goes, Pigeon, Galaxy Girl, you seem so sweet. I'm overjoyed to be out of that cell, but right now I have one thing on my mind. And then Galaxy Girl said, I think this is the part where I call it a night. Okay, so she's ready to like hightail it. I don't think she's vibing with the rejects. And then she says, you might want to check on your friend. He looks kind of dead. One thing to keep in mind is that when Galaxy Girl came to Earth again in disgrace, she had to pick between teaming up with a group of some of her like ex teammates, but not as like a leader, kind of as like a under. I essentially call her an underdog, but I think she would have been like a lesser member of the team. And the guy who was over that team, I believe his name is Hermes, he kind of had a thing for her. And I think that would have been messy. And she recognized that would have been messy. And it wouldn't have necessarily been what she wanted. She wanted to be like a lone wolf. So now she's in a lone wolf situation, but she's finding herself getting wrapped up with yet another team. So you can tell that she's like reluctant to really want to like mess with these guys too much. And she's kind of like moving away. Even though like Pigeon is like, look, I have all this like squad. She's like, nah, that's not necessarily for me, backing off. Plus, they're a weird squad. Come along now, Turtle Girl. I'll drop you off on the way. I wonder how heavy the turtle shell is. Like if she's gonna pick up Turtle Girl and go like, ugh, or something. And there's a washroom on the ship. Oh, is she going to like take her on her spaceship? Oh wait, yeah, Galaxy Girl can't fly. I keep forgetting that Galaxy Girl doesn't know how to fly. See, my brain is doing a thing. Galaxy Girl is a series that's not told in order. So sometimes there are like flashbacks. And I know in the flashbacks for sure, Galaxy Girl doesn't know how to fly. And she uses a spaceship to travel through space, which is probably another indication that she doesn't know how to fly. Though maybe it would just be tiring to fly through space. But now I'm like, does she still not know how to fly for real? That is just really interesting. But yeah, I guess she would have to take her in the ship if she can't fly. I wonder, can Galaxy Girl do the big jump? Like what the Hulk does, where you like bend your knees and you like across the city or whatever? That could be useful for her. And then Turtle Girl says, I love you for the offer for the washroom. And then Galaxy Girl says, keep an eye on them for me, will you, Layla? Make sure they don't step out of line. So Layla is one of Pigeon's pigeons because Pigeon has the power to talk to pigeons. I think this next step is not safe for work. So I am going to change to the cover as I go over this next part. So Galaxy Girl, I guess, is showering or whatever. And we're going through her thought process. And she says, that was eventful. The pigeon certainly has some big ideas and interesting friends. By the way, if you guys want to be able to read this for yourself as well or follow along during the stream, here is a link to the series. I highly recommend that you guys check out Galaxy Girl. It's made by my friend Oz, who is a comic creator on Storenex. And Oz is a great creator. So all credit to Oz. I've just been reviewing Oz's series and trying to spread the word about it because it's one of the best AI comics I personally have read. And this is my first reaction to the series. You're getting my real-time reaction to each issue as I review it. Let's see. So going through her thought process, she's in the shower. She says, that was eventful. Pigeon certainly has some big ideas and interesting friends, but they're going to get themselves killed. So she doesn't have faith in them. I don't know. I think the drunk might be onto some his power. It's any power that feels like it has a scale that's essentially an unlimited scale up is very OP. Very OP. If you're not careful, you could end up as a glorified babysitter, which is what you kind of already are. I've saved entire planets before. What am I really protecting now? Better yet, who am I serving? I have a dinner with a billionaire this week who totally creeps me out, and yet I feel like that's just part of the job. That's not right. At the very least, it's a bit sexist. And these stupid pigeon pals, what a name. Oh my gosh. I cannot care about these people. I have bigger things to worry about. A whole city to protect. I wish I could show you some of those panels that were not safe for work. So Galaxy Girl sometimes uses different art styles, and for the shower scene, it actually has more of like a photorealistic vibe to it versus the more traditional comic layout that's being used for a lot of it. So the art looks really good. Not YouTube appropriate. Definitely couldn't get away with that. So let me scroll real quick through several pages because I want to get another solid idea of when I'll have to not show you guys stuff. Okay. The rest of the book is safe for work, which is good because that means I can start sharing the tab again. Later, stop. So I remember she can fly a little bit. Okay, cool. So she has a hoverboard that she's been using on Earth. That's what was causing me confusion because I was like, I remember that she couldn't fly, but I could have sworn that was like an older problem and that it had been resolved. The resolution is she got a hoverboard. Duh. The hoverboard. So she said, if you kill someone, I'm authorized to use lethal force. Not the way I prefer to do this, but I'll leave it up to you. You think you're being a hero, but you're going to get us all killed. Don't interfere. So she's on a hoverboard, and we haven't seen the bottom of this. Is this a hover cycle? Because I imagine a hoverboard should be able to go faster than a normal motorcycle because there's no traction. You're not being like limited by the ground at all. Excuse me. She said, yeah, I've been more inclined to believe you if I didn't watch you take out the delivery van myself. What the hell is it you were attempting to steal anyways? You don't already know? Don't get in the middle of this. This is bigger than us. This power can't end up in the wrong hands. So he's on a normal motorcycle. Like you can see that there are wheels. It's interesting the way that she's riding it because she's riding the hoverboard like crouched, which is fascinating. We couldn't be more on the same page, which is why they need to end up in mine. Hand it over. I'll only ask nicely once. The reason why I'm stuttering a little bit on reading, her skin tone changed really hard between the panels. It looks neat. I almost wish that when she used her powers, that maybe it used like a little bit of her vitality where she became like more pale like this. I like the idea that she flares up and then she becomes kind of ghostly. Okay, he revs up. That's a really nice close up, by the way. And he goes, no, looks like my ride is here. And she goes, what the hell is that? And he has this like spaceship looking thing. That's neat. I like the almost like owl common rider knight head as a part of the spaceship design. I'm also curious because this is using, I'm pretty sure, a version of Stable Diffusion. If he can get object consistency like this, like, will the ship always look like this when we see it in the future? Don't try and find me. And then I guess he leaps off his bike onto the ship. And then she goes, they always have to make things more difficult than they need to be. Look at that. Look at that. So I really like the art. So the way that the energy is coming out of her mouth and how she kind of has that like lighter skin tone, it makes me think of Danny Phantom, especially like the green glowing eyes. It reminds me of Danny Phantom's Ghost Sense or whatever. But that's like a really cool composition. I'm digging that. And then she goes, you're mine. She extends out, shoots a blast. He goes, get me out of here, Silver. And then I guess it's going to be like a tractor beam, but it looks like he's a vampire. You think you can catch me? I'm the Crimson Wraith. Oh, is he like a ghost? Is he a ghost biker? I always get away. To be continued. Hey, so I'm going to hit it up with a love react. I always do that on Oz's works. and I'm going to share a link to this live stream. I reacted to this comic live on my YouTube channel. Great work as always, Oz. Let's see. And I'm gonna submit comment. Yeah, so that's my review of this Galaxy Girl issue. We're gonna move on to other stuff for the rest of the stream. Oh, well, you guys saw a bunch of my emails. do. Nothing I can really do about that now. Do. Okay, and now I'm gonna share this tab. Do. I need to be more cognizant of that in the future when changing tabs over. So let's play around in Flow and create a new character. So we just looked at a comic that had a character that was like a humanoid pigeon, like a bird vigilante. So I guess we should play around with the idea of making our own bird vigilante character. But what bird would be like the bird of choice? I'm partial to the North Alabama mockingbird. I see them all the time when I'm just like out and about. So I'm gonna grab an image of a North Alabama mockingbird. They have this like white stripe on the wing. That's like a core part of their aesthetic. So let's experiment with trying to make a hero out of this. So in Galaxy Girl, they're like members of like the space police. They wear a monocolor, shiny suit that covers most of their body, but no helmet. And they're often named after gods. Galaxy Girl doesn't fit that mold, but a lot of the other ones that she hangs out with are named after gods. And in some cases, literally are gods, I believe. I'm not sure if that's true for all of them. But like I mentioned earlier, she had a teammate named Hermes. So let's see. Bird, mockingbird, space mockingbird, named after a god. Is there any lore that connects like a mockingbird to like any mythological figure? So is there any mythology that connects mockingbirds to gods or godlike figures? And we can use this as like a jumping off point. Wow. Okay. Mockingbirds are deeply embedded in the mythologies of several North American cultures, often serving as divine teachers, guardians, or messengers due to their unique ability to mimic sounds. Okay. So the Hopi and Pueblo tribes see them as the teachers of language. They first taught humans how to speak. That's interesting. Guardian of the dead. Okay. I think I've looked into this before because I remember the Guardian of the Dead thing. So that's neat. Spiritual messengers, mediators and peacemakers, symbols of intelligence, medicine and power. In Christianity, there's sometimes considered the Pentecost bird. Oh, speaking in tongues. The concept of a bird speaking in tongues is so odd. But at the same time, it kind of goes, because if you think about an angel, right, and the idea that speaking in tongues is like speaking in some like biblical or like angelic language, angels in the modern day are commonly portrayed as being humanoids with like bird-like features, having like wings. So I could see kind of a mockingbird humanoid angelic being, essentially a mockingbird angel hero. I was kind of hoping for like names, like where they call mockingbird something else, to then use as like a direct reference. But if we're going to go with the tongues, I'm not going to call the character Pentecost Bird. Uh, Maybe instead of mockingbird, a mocking angel sounds like a demon, right? Like an angel that kind of like mocks the conventions of being like a holy host or something. So what about a superhero or an anti-hero who has angelic qualities, demonic qualities, is mockingbird themed, speaks in tongues as like their main power, so they're able to speak a magical language that they use in order to like cast spells, and they're a member of like a space police force. I think mocking angel is what I'm going to go for. So let's do concept art character reference sheet, full body rotation, multiple character close-ups with strong emotions, happy, sad, angry, neutral. I mean, it's interesting to say strong emotions and say neutral. It's going to be a very hard neutral, I guess. And then for the art style, let's say amateur digital art sketch. MS Paint quality with bright high color saturation. And then character concept. Mocking angel is a demonic angel with mockingbird wings and aesthetic. They possess the ability to speak in tongues in order to cast angelic and demonic spells. They are an anti-hero and a member of the space police. They wear an asymmetrical, skin-tight bodysuit made of reflective space metal with a black and white color scheme. They fight as a member of the space police in order to earn redemption for their crimes against heaven while trying to evade the wrath of the demon brethren they've betrayed. They are a woman. Just gotta make them a female character. Okay. And I think that's enough for us to try and generate this initial character concept reference sheet. By the way, I've been enjoying doing these streams. It's nice to be able to just spend some time creating and sharing stuff with you all. And I also really enjoy the conversations. These really are meant to be like interactive hangouts where we like talk. But I understand people have busy schedules, they work. This may not be the most convenient time for them. This is interesting, the way that they did it. So the art style, I have multiple things I didn't think through. So first, Within the art style, I want it to be an anime sketch. So I do want it to have more of an anime vibe. So for the front view, they gave us 2 wings. From the side view, they gave us no wings. And then for the back view, they only showed 1 wing. I kind of like the 1 wing a little bit. And the asymmetrical design goes crazy. The red eye and the blue eye are interesting. The halo has a police badge on it. Tough. Uh, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna actually put some of this directly into the prompt. So she has heterochromia, where one eye is red and the other eye is blue. She has a halo that floats over her head that also has her space police badge floating in the center of the halo. One thing that I do want to change, I was thinking that she would have slightly more demonic qualities. So I want to say she has crimson red skin. And her eyes glow. Okay. Make sure there is plenty of space on the sheet for everything to be easily presented. Long prompt. But this, for like a first go, is not terrible, and it gave us a lot to work off of, to be honest. So let's see what they do with the next take on Mocking Angel. Also, I've been playing around a lot more with this like Microsoft Paint in style that inspired design. Look at that! Look at that! Okay, we gotta do a breakdown. The wings are perfect. This first take has kind of generic gray angel wings. These are what the Mockingbird wings for the North Alabama Mockingbird look like. Let's go. Solid wings. They got the information right. Mocking Angel, Demonic Angel, Anti-Hero, Space Police, Redemption Seeker, Speaks in Tongues, Angelic Demonic Spells. The happy, sad, angry, and neutral designs all look really solid. I think my only issue is maybe neutral gives her normal eyes, which is actually really fascinating. Like I don't know how I feel about that. Like, should she only have the glowing eye heterochromia when she's like happy, sad, or angry? But when she's neutral, does she have like normal green eyes? Because she's just missing the heterochromia straight up in the neutral. But is it like when her emotions flare up, it changes? Similar to what I was seeing in Galaxy Girl, where when she was using her powers, it looked as if her skin tone was becoming like lighter, like she was becoming ghostly. Could it be like that? Like when she's locking in, is that when like her eyes glow and they change colors? This is one of the cool things about like AI art is the iterative process. You're kind of shaping your idea as you're actively making it, and it's fun. You can legitimately make a lot of progress while also saying, "Ooh, it went in a different direction. I like that. Let me play with that some more." So we have this. This is like really solid already, to be honest. But we can do more. So let's use this as a reference and say, create 8 reusable panels of this character in the same art style. Each panel should have a colorful action line, let's say colorful gradient action line background. The first 4 panels should all be emotional close-ups. of the character. So, of the character looking to the side. So, happy, sad, angry, neutral. The same as what we did before. The next set of 4 panels should all be the character in dynamic action poses. So flying, firing a beam of red and blue glowing magic from her mouth. So that could be like her like casting a spell, like as an attack. Shrouding herself in a barrier of red and blue magical energy while in a defensive combat stance. For the firing a beam of red and blue glowing magic from her mouth, I'm going to say in an offensive combat stance for that one. And then for the 4th one, we've covered a lot of her powers, and throwing her halo, this might mess it up, throwing her halo as a long range frisbee style projectile weapon. I just think that would be neat if she could grab her halo and just like toss it. I just thought of that on the fly. And we just generate that. So you guys are getting to see the iterative process of how I come up with an idea. So I read an issue of Galaxy Girl. I liked it. I felt inspired. I was like, what are some interesting elements of Galaxy Girl stuff that I like? And, I want to make something that's kind of like Pigeon. But I want to make my own thing a little bit. I really like the North Alabama Mockingbird. Boom. Let me do some research on the North Alabama Mockingbird. Okay. Based on my research, I feel like I'm going in a direction. This has given me some inspiration and some ideas based on this initial generation. Let me do my own thing. Boom. Okay, this is looking good. And now we got this. Only gripe, her halo is missing from like most of the panels. I wonder if the halo could be something that she can like summon, so she doesn't have to always have the halo on. If so, I can like kind of vibe with that. Does she have a fully exposed arm? Oh, I didn't even catch that. I saw the little thigh gap right here, like where that's not what that's called. This is a thigh gap. This is like an uncovered thigh, and I thought that was neat. I didn't realize she has like an uncovered arm. It really stood out in these action shots that she has the uncovered arm. Are the wings something that she can summon as well? There are lots of ways that you can play with it, right? Like where the eyes glowing is like a power usage thing. The wings unfurling is a power usage thing. The halo appearing is a power usage thing, which would imply that like her default form doesn't have the wings, and her default form doesn't have the halo, and her default form doesn't have the glowing eyes. And see how I'm like seeing what the art makes, and then based on that, coming up with like this is like the reasoning for why it's like doing the thing or whatever. It allows you to take something that often would be seen as like a mistake and turn that into like, no, actually, this is actually pretty cool. I can use this. This is useful. So this is neat. These are reusable panels that I could potentially use to make my own comics featuring Mocking Angel. I just realized it didn't give me a full body character rotation. That's like what this was supposed to do. But this prompt, I guess, had so much in it. At what point was it going to do the full body rotation? So do I even want or need the full body rotation, all things considered, now that I have all this? I guess I don't necessarily need it. create an encyclopedia page about this character. We're going to change the aspect ratio to 9:16. And we're going to pop in these two as references. But this is really cool. I especially like how we started with this one and it gave me ideas like for where to go. You know, this isn't like the worst thing in the world, but this is like a nice like pop off. Like, ooh, this is like what we want. Do 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 do. That preview is so small. So small. Let me full screen this. This still seems like a small preview. Oh, well, I'm also like not zooming. Okay. Zooming is not helpful if I'm not going to be full screen. I think we're going to want to up-res this straight up. I wonder, does upscaling cost credits? So let's see. I mean, I have a ton of credits. It's not like a huge deal. Ton of credits. Oh, I know why I was looking. So what you want to see is 27760. And then we'll do a 4K upscale and play around with that. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Wow 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 wow. Okay. So I'm looking through my pictures, AI designs, characters. Okay. I guess I'll go into original superhero characters. Mocking Angel Encyclopedia. Save. And then I'm just going to directly pop it back in if I can. So what I want to do now is, can I upload something in? Add, upload image. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. AI designs, characters. We're going to pop in that upscale. And how much did it use? Upscaling to 4K uses no credits. That's kind of wild. Okay, so I'm going to try to zoom in again. Yeah, I don't think zoom is going to do us any favors. This is the 4K. We are zoomed in pretty hard. I imagine it probably looks better on my computer. But let's look at this. Demonic Angel, Anti-Hero, Space Police, Redemption Seeker. Facts file. Species Demonic Angel. Affiliation Space Police. Role Anti-Hero. Redemption Seeker. Abilities Speaks in Tongues. Angelic/demonic spells. Appearance and personality. Mocking Angel is red skin, dual colored hair. Dual colored hair? It doesn't look dual colored to me. Is it like red with a somewhat purpley highlight? Maybe, question mark. It's interesting that it says that. Dual colored hair and suit. Red mist Hair more large, dual wings. It definitely deteriorated. Like, I don't think the 4K caught everything. Actually, look at this. It's still gross. So it was gross even in the original one. Okay. I guess we didn't necessarily have to res that up to 4K. But now we know. So let's reuse the prompt here. Also, this zoom is way better than when I tried to like open it and zoom it. It's actually significantly more clear than I thought it was. And I'm going to say the text needs to be clear, coherent, and legible. I hope everyone who's watching is having a good time so far and is enjoying the behind the scenes of the creative process. Always review your outputs. Excuse me, when generating stuff with AI. Excuse me. Always review your outputs, period. Ooh, I like that it called it Encyclopedia Galactica. Mocking Angel, character bio, alias, demonic angel, antihero, space police, species, unknown, demonic, angelic hybrid, occupation, space police officer, anti-hero division. Weird name. Weird. You wouldn't call it that. Weird name. Status, redemption seeker. Unique traits, speaks in tongues, utilizes both angelic and demonic spells. Key abilities, flight. Powerful feathered wings allow for rapid interstellar travel. Interstellar from feathered wings is crazy. Energy projection, firing beam. Emits concentrated energy blast from hands and mouth. It gave it to her hands. That's surprising. That's surprising. I like it when it like sprinkles in extra stuff. It gives you some more lore. Why not enjoy some extra lore with your lore? Defensive barrier creates protective energy shields against attacks. Halo throw utilizes her space police halo as a boomerang like weapon. I do like the idea that it comes back to her. I was originally thinking that it's something that she like summons, like poof, and then she can grab it off the top of her head and throw it, similar to Wonder Woman's tiara. Wonder Woman does that with her tiara sometimes. But I was thinking she could throw it and maybe it could even like explode or something, but something that she summons anyway, so she can just like whoop 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 and then like have another one. But it boomeranging could be cool. I could see her doing like a ricochet shot with it or something. And then personality and emotional states. Displays joy with a wide smile, experiences profound sadness and tears, shows intense rage, often with glowing eyes, maintains a calm, stoic demeanor. Nice. Okay, so this is actually a very neat output. Even though it has some camp in there with the anti-hero division, that's really goofy. Super mega goofy. It's not terrible by any means. And since upscaling apparently doesn't cost anything, I'll upscale it, because why not? Who doesn't like a good upscale? Do 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 do. Bow wow. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Bow 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 bow. But in a very short period of time, it's been like less than 30 minutes. We went from, wouldn't it be cool to create a character, to now we just have a character who's practically fully realized. I don't want to go as far as to say like, wow, look at this fully realized, fully developed character or something. We're not quite there yet. But let's pop this in. And then we're going to pop in you and pop in the widescreen one. Create a one-page comic covering the origin story of this character. 12 panels. 3x4 panel grid. The text should be clear and legible. The story should have a clear emotional arc, message, and theme. So notice that we didn't give it just a straight up like plot to follow. We didn't say like, hey, you like have to like do like these specific beats. We don't even have like an origin in any of the materials we gave it. Instead, we gave it a bunch of like references to the character and like who they are. And then from there, it can develop its own story. So I am interested in seeing what it does with it. So we got the comic with the grid. It looks a little small. How was I doing this earlier? Zooming in like this. The chaotic rift between realms. And it isn't actually cut off. That's just the curving of the window. The chaotic rift between realms. Where am I? Born of conflicting power. She knew only destruction. Oh, she shot out of her eye. That's different. Halt, you're under arrest for cosmic disturbance. Why do the police cars just ride through space? That is so goofy. I know we had some camp before. That's crazy levels of camp, bro. Also, she goes from like being born in like the swirl of cosmic energy from different realms to she's under arrest, but she's wearing the space police uniform. What? you're under arrest. You're already in your uniform. So she goes, leave me alone, fires off a blast. She's captured, faces judgment, given a choice, eternal confinement or service. She's like Fillmore. You guys remember Fillmore from Toon Disney? Yeah. You have to join us or be locked up forever. Redemption or oblivion. That's not even confinement. They're just like, we'll kill you. The path was arduous, her nature battling control. During live mission, I will protect them. During live mission is so awkwardly phrased. I swear to uphold the law. Now, the mocking angel, an anti-hero space police, not space police officer, anti-hero space police, seeks redemption in every mission. I can see where they're going with it. There are definitely like mistakes and flaws in this. So zoom in out a little bit so we can see this. The story needs to be written in a professional style, as if crafted by a seasoned writer. This should be a story that adults can enjoy. It shouldn't be overly simplistic. So I kind of broke down some of the issues that I had with the story in this one and said, hey, try not to do that this time. So let's see if it does or does not. And it is definitely inheriting some of the camp from the little encyclopedia page. Huh. Okay. So I already kind of like elements of it here a little bit more. Genesis of duality. In the cosmic crucible where light and shadow collide, a singularity formed. From the maelstrom, she emerged. a paradox of flesh and spirit, half angel, half demon, the mocking angel, they would call her. Her early cycles were chaos, a creature of impulse torn between seraphic grace and infernal rage. The universe recoiled. Feared and outcast, she wandered the void, a pariah of two realms. Until a distress signal pierced the silence, a defenseless world besieged by pirates. Yo, this AI loves having like non-space vehicles in space. And it's actually kind of interesting. Like, because I'm like, is that a stylistic choice? Is that just something that we're gonna do? Instead of having spaceships, it's just like ships. I don't hate it, to be when do you see this? In fiction, for the most part. She watched indifferent at first, but the cries of the innocent stirred something dormant within. So the only issue I have so far, because the writing is so much better, is that she has the space police uniform in this shot. This is a close up. She could arguably be wearing something different. Uh, and this could be like a modern shot of her, even if we're talking in the text about like early stuff about her. But I don't know. I scrolled down. Look at this. They tried to give her like a traditional like police officer fit for that second to last panel, and they immediately just don't do that anymore after that. Does seem weird. Does seem weird. Not gonna lie. I probably need to include in the prompt that until she becomes a member of the space police, she shouldn't be wearing her space police uniform. But she watched indifferent at first, but the cries of the innocent stirred something dormant within. The demon wanted to join the carnage. The angel wanted to protect. The hybrid chose. With fury both divine and profane, she descended, her halo a weapon of justice. The pirates were routed, the planet saved. The survivors looked up, not in fear, but in awe. The space police had watched. They offered her a badge, a purpose, not of absolution, but of atonement. She wears the uniform not as a disguise, but as a declaration, a shield against her own darkness. She is mocking angel, a testament that destiny is not written in blood, but in the choices we make. The cosmos has a new protector. A new protector is born. I love this shot of her in front of like the sun, and her wing is like overlapping with the sun a little bit. There's some stuff I like. There's some stuff I don't like. This is a lot closer to what I think would be like a solid comic to try and like publish. But let's cover some of the basic stuff. The black and white uniform she wears is her space police uniform. And she shouldn't be wearing it until she becomes a member of the space police. I think that makes sense. That's like a reasonable thing to say. What's something else that I want to include? That might be my main gripe. The only other thing I could see myself adding is like trying to actually make it canon that space vehicles are just normal vehicles in space. But I don't know. Maybe it'll do that again. And if it does that again, we can just say that. But it doesn't necessarily have to be said here. But it is fun. It is fun. That's like another layer of camp that I think is neat. But let's see if that helps fix it. Because that story, like all the text stuff, I'm actually really fine with. The only thing I don't like is the fact that she like has the space police uniform earlier than she's supposed to. And also that they like arbitrarily give her a very generic space police uniform in that second to last panel. That's kind of gross. All the homies hate the normal space police uniform. You got to give her the well-designed asymmetrical space police uniform. Do 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 do. This design is just like a very different vibe. The art style is not the same. It's split into like little chapters or something. I'm actually so thrown by how it went about it and like how different it is. Because these seemed like they preserved the art style a lot better. Maintain the same art style. Make sure the characters look consistent. And I am curious if character consistency is going to mess it up. We don't have like a what she looks like outside of the uniform fit. So maybe because it has to come up with this is the out of the uniform fit, it's struggling a little bit because there's like no reference for that. And that's fair. I mean, we could also say the origin story should be told, but she should already be a space police member or something. I don't know. I just don't like seeing her outside of the space police fit. Okay. Angelic garb, space police badge floating above her, and maybe the suit is coming onto her as the badge is like coming to her. I'm checking for art inconsistencies first. So far, so good. So far, so good. These panels are a little similar. I kind of don't like how similar those two are, but not terrible. Born of discordant realms, I was a pariah, too holy for hell, too tainted for heaven. Exiled from both, I fell, a celestial orphan, adrift in the cosmos, until the law found me, not with judgment, but an offer, a chance to serve, to mend the fracture within. I do kind of like the idea that the badge like floats down to her, and it becomes like a halo, and then the suit starts to like form over her skin. All that is neat. I actually really like that. The training was brutal. My demonic nature resisted the discipline, but the angelic side it sought order, a purpose. In the crucible of combat, the two halves clashed. Chaos threatened to consume me. I chose. I would be the bridge, the weapon forged from both extremes. They call me Mocking Angel, a jest perhaps, or a warning. I use their spells against them, the tongue of the damned, to speak justice. Redemption is not a destination, but a perpetual act. I am the Space Police fallen grace, and I will earn my wings, one sinner at a time. Hey, I actually don't hate that. Like these two panels are pretty similar. I will say the like hand beam versus the mouth beam. I do feel a little like about that. But other than that, that's like a solid post. That's something that I could like share on social media and feel like more or less good about. I don't like that those panels are like so similar though. They're like really similar. We get a panel right here of her using the energy blast that doesn't use like the background, but the fact that she's doing the pose with the legs and she's firing the blast from both hands, and then she's doing the pose with the legs and she's firing it from the mouth. It does look like and Ryan has complained about this before in some of my stuff where it'll kind of go like wink, wink. These are like the same thing, but I like changed a little bit. But it is really good. It's really good. I wonder if I ran it again and said, make sure that each panel has a unique composition to ensure that no two panels feel like copies of one another. And maybe this will be like the grand comic. So notice in order to come up with like the initial character concept, it took 1, 2, 3. I'd say 3 generations to get to like, no, this isn't a generation. This is a picture of a bird. It took 2 generations to get to like, yep, this is the character. Then we kind of fleshed out her power set and created these reusable like emotion shots. Then it took 3 generations again. Oh, pattern. In order to create like a satisfying. No, hold up. 2 generations. One of these is I upresed this and then uploaded it back into the system. So 2 generations to create a satisfying like encyclopedia page with a little bit of camp. Does have a little bit of camp. And now we're on our 5th comic generation. Let's see. I already think it's maybe suffering from the giving her the suit too early. Genesis of the Mocking Angel. In the Celestial War, Seraphina gave her a real name. Gasp. In the Celestial War, Seraphina fell, her purity shattered. Cast into the abyss, the infernal energy swirled around her. The angelic grace met demonic fury. The fusion was agony. From the crucible of torment, a new form emerged. Not angel, not demon, a hybrid of both, born in chaos. They're trying to say that she was like an angel beforehand. And then in the Celestial War, she like fell into hell. And then she became like half demon. That is actually really interesting. It's different from like all the other ones where she's like born from like a maelstrom of energies. She's a fully fleshed out character, and then she becomes like a demon merge thing. But it doesn't seem like it changed too much about her aesthetic. Like she already kind of looked like this before. Possessing the strength to destroy and the will to redeem, she sought purpose in a universe that feared her existence. A mockery of her former self, she embraced the title. Justice, she decided, would be delivered with a mocking smile. The space police saw a threat. She saw an opportunity. Their law was rigid. Her methods were effective. Thus began the legend of the mocking angel, the redemption seeker. Well, hold on. So this is like such a different position for her, because in this, it doesn't really seem like she's a member of the space police necessarily. She has a badge. She has a badge even from like the Celestial War part. And that makes you think she's in the space police. But you scroll through it, and it's more like she was like an angel in the Celestial War, but then she got cast into the abyss. And then from that, she became like a demon angel hybrid, which gave her new powers. And then from those new powers, she seeks purpose in like the greater universe that feared her existence. Because I imagine she can't go back to the war because now she's like a weird hybrid thing or whatever. So she can't go back to the war. So she goes into the universe for purpose. As a mockery of her former self, she embraced the title, but we don't actually show the title until the end. I like that. That's like a cool little writing thing I did. Justice, she decided, would be delivered with a mocking smile. We're hinting at the title. The title is a reveal, which is interesting. The space police saw a threat. She saw an opportunity. Their law was rigid. Her methods were effective. Thus began the legend of the mocking angel, the redemption seeker. So her badge in this wouldn't necessarily have originally been a space police badge. Her badge could have then been from when she was like a celestial as a member of the Celestial War. We're cooking. This is a solid piece. I like this one. I was like, oh, I could see myself like uploading this. This one, I just probably will upload Genesis of the Mocking Angel. Not bad at all. And look at how much we did in such a short amount of time to like get to this point. I'm gonna redo that encyclopedia though. So let me grab the latest version of the encyclopedia, reuse the prompt, and then as a third image, pop in the comic origin story. So now it has the like context of the character's actual origin. And see how we did that out of order? Like we made an encyclopedia page, which helped to inform the creation of the comic. And now the comic recontextualizes the encyclopedia page. So now we create a fresh encyclopedia page off of that. Iterative creativity. Wow, would you look at this one? What? It did like a weird thing where the text overflows out of the box. Come on now, dog. It looks so good. It looks so good for them to like have messed it up. Seraphina, known as the Mocking Angel, is a demonic angel hybrid and anti-hero space police officer. Once a fallen angel, she now seeks redemption by enforcing justice with her own methods. Her powers are a chaotic fusion of angelic grace and demonic fury, including flight, energy projection, and a weaponized halo. She speaks in tongues and casts both angelic and demonic spells. Demonic angel, space police, flight, energy beams, force barrier, halo throw, speaks in tongues. Origin story: shattered in a celestial war and cast into the abyss, Seraphina's essence fused with infernal energies. Emerging as a hybrid of chaos, she sought purpose, ultimately joining the space police to deliver rigid justice with a mocking smile, embracing her new identity as the redemption seeker. This is so close to being good. It just had like a weird table overflow. So we got to zoom out. The text needs to be clear, coherent, and legible. Do I just fire it off again with no changes? Because I don't necessarily need it to make like tables, but I could say make sure that all text fits within its respective area cleanly or whatever. It becomes like a weird prompt to put in. But let's just do the same prompt again and just roll the dice essentially and see if we get like a cleaner response this time. This is so good. So good. I'm vibing with it. Do 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 do. Doopa doopa doo. Do 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 do. Why? Well, that one's so messy. That one's really messy. Let's actually have it divided into the sections. The page should be divided into sections because I like that it did that for this one. So let's do title, or I guess not title, alias, true name, description, attributes and powers, origin. Do you need description and origin? Let's say true name, origin, attributes and powers, moods, actions. Make sure that all of the text cleanly fits into their respective sections. Okay. I think that maybe should help. So far, this one's my favorite. It just has the gross overflow on that box. But we're making so much progress. So much progress. So do 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 do. Okay. It included a panel from the comic, which is neat. Mocking Angel, alias Mocking Angel, true name Seraphina. It included a citation. I kind of hate when it does that. Origin: a fallen angel, Seraphina was cast into the abyss during a celestial war. There, her angelic grace was shattered and fused with infernal energies, emerging from the crucible of torment as a demonic angel hybrid. She embraces the title Mocking Angel and seeks purpose as a redemption seeker, using her unique powers as a space police anti hero. Attributes and powers: species, demonic angel hybrid; affiliation, space police anti hero; role, redemption seeker; abilities, flight, large feathered wings; energy projection, firing beams and barriers; halo throw, speaks in tongues; angelic demonic spells; and moods, happy, sad, angry, neutral; actions, flying, firing beam, barrier, halo throw. Awesome. Okay, yeah, no. This is almost perfect, except it has that stupid citation. Let me zoom in a little bit. Please remove the citation from the true name box. Once we have that, we should be Gucci, as the kids say. Okay, let's go back here. Zoom in. Double check all the text. Whenever you change an image, I'm always afraid that it's going to go and like change other text. Fallen angel Seraphina was cast into the abyss during a celestial war. There, her angelic grace was shattered and fused with the infernal energies emerging from the crucible of torment as a demonic angel hybrid. She embraces the title Mocking Angel and seeks purpose as a redemption seeker, using her unique powers as a space police anti hero. Then we have that full breakdown, moods, actions. Let's see. I'm going to overwrite. Let's put it in 4K. Let's put it in 4K just because. I'm going to overwrite the one that I downloaded earlier because now this is the definitive encyclopedia page for Mocking Angel. Solid job. Solid job. But I think I like it. I think I like it quite a bit. Do, 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 do. Yes, sir. Okay. I've been going for well over an hour. I normally only try to stream for about an hour with no audience. I've just kind of been having fun making stuff. With AI, you can just build things, as they say. Do I want to create a trailer? How hard would it be to create a trailer? So if I said ingredients, 9x16, we take the comic, animate the first 3 scenes. Will that work? Sometimes you just have to try stuff, right? You just have to experiment and just see what happens. But it would be kind of wild to, in a live stream, come up with like a brand new character concept from scratch. I'm not seeing the option to rename it. There we go. But it would be wild in a live stream to come up with a brand new concept from scratch, make a comic. You already don't like it, but let's look at it. What was that? I kind of like, okay, so the first 3 scenes, She's getting hit with a blast. She's in the abyss, and the energy spirals around her. And I can see what it's like trying to do. Yeah, like I get the interpretation. It's just like really off. Okay. Create an animated sequence in the same style as the comic of the first 3 panels. This is an animated adaptation of the comic. So we're going to try again. I'm trying to see how lazy I can be with the prompting to still get like an adequate response. And I know people are probably going to be out there like, is this prompt engineering? I could have totally gotten this result immediately. You're not using this extra special sauce prompting. Fair. This is very free form. You just having fun playing around with stuff. I do want to legitimately do like prompt engineering stuff as a part of my job, though. I want to do more AI stuff. What is this?
From the promise of heaven, I have seen the edge of forever. Yet angels can never truly. From the promise of heaven, I have seen the edge of forever.
Really different. So the model that I'm trying to use to make the video is VO 3.1 fast, lower priority, which is like a free model, essentially. And I wonder if that's holding me back. Do I need a better model to do it? Is a question for another time, because I'm going to end the stream for now. I don't really need it to be made into like an animation or a video or whatever, because I've already had fun making the encyclopedia and making the comic page and hanging out with you guys. I appreciate everyone who came by, and I appreciate everyone who's going to watch the stream later on. Thank you, Rap King, for hopping into the stream. Truly appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning in. There's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Chicka-da-bow-wow. Chicka-da-bow-wow. Chicka-da-bow-wow.